And now for a review of what's making the headlines in the papers this morning. Let's bring in a RISE analyst, Constance Ikoku. Good morning, Constance.
A wonderful morning to you, Charles. Are you doing great today?
Absolutely.
Okay, that's good to hear that. And Yolanda and Adeswa.
Good morning.
You guys are good. Okay, to look at the papers with us this morning, we have Iyo Akerega. He is a member of the Nigerian Guild of Editors. Hello there and welcome to the program. We'll begin with this day. NAF, Al-Qaeda groups exploiting weak governance structures in Nigeria. NAF is the Nigerian Air Force, and these extremist groups, according to NAF, not only take advantage of Nigeria, they also do that across West Africa as a whole and the Sahel region. And NAF also mentioned the porous borders at the Lake Chad region or Lake Chad Basin and how this helps to sustain extremist activities. I mean, these ungoverned spaces, whether in the Gulf of Guinea, we also have that problem in the Gulf of Guinea, or the Sahel pose a serious risk for West Africa. And this has contributed to some of the instability that we're seeing or we have been experiencing for some years now, Igor.
Yes, absolutely. I agree with the chief of the air staff, Chief Hassan Abubakar, who clearly is telling Nigerians what we already, suspect that is happening. Our porous borders, the federal government also does recognize that Nigeria has porous borders, particularly, our borders across the northern region and some part of the southwest, where some of these illegal activities are taking place. So the NAF chief is telling us, pointing the way that the government should be going. And of course, if you also read that report very well, the NAF chief is recommending strategies to deal with the issues. Apart from the internal security challenges we are having, the Lake Chad Basin across the entire Sahel, he is recommending unmanned aerial vehicles, the use of artificial intelligence, because now the world is already embracing drone warfare. So he was telling the officers, that he was addressing AOCs and commanding officers across the various NAF bases, that it is time to, think out of the box and re-strategize and develop modern strategies to deal with these emerging challenges in Nigeria. So it's a good development. It just shows that the Nigerian Air Force is thinking ahead and they are being proactive.
Well, let's see another story in this day. It's also in other papers. 2027, no vacancy in Aso Rock as APC leaders pass vote of confidence in Tinubu. We have that story in New Telegraph. Can we go to New Telegraph, please? APC NEC, Tinubu gets confidence vote as Buhari, Al-Rufai, Amechi absent. Bury your ambitions, APC NEC tells agitators. While the National Executive Committee of the All Progressives Congress met yesterday, there was no extraordinary outcome from that meeting. The president and the chairman of the party were given approval. And there you have it. President Bola Tinubu now has the party in the bag. What's the import of that, do you think, Igor?
Well, that's the first major meeting of the ruling party. And of course, it's the highest organ of the party. What came out for me is just two things. Basically, the president is getting a confidence vote, which means that he has renewed vigor and support from his party to continue to govern Nigeria. But the absence of El-Rufai, former President Buhari, Amechi, former Vice President Yemi Osinbajo and all that, also for me, is an indication that there's also a crack in the APC, because as it were, the APC tries to tout itself as a unified party and trying to mock the opposition party, particularly the Labour Party and the PDP, that they are not able to put their house in order. Even if you listen to the speech of the president, he gave a charge to the APC National Chairman, Umar Ganduje, that they should set up a reconciliation committee to try and bring all aggrieved members of the party to the table. So it also shows to me that there's a crack in that party.
Definitely. I was going to say there that, as you've highlighted, it's showing cracks in the APC that we've been seeing in the Labour Party and the PDP. It's very significant that the top three members of the previous government, the former President, Vice President, and former Senate President Lawan were not there at the meeting. Also, the person who came second in the primaries, former Governor Amechi, was also not there. So that's significant cracks in the APC. But also, I think something that came up that is significant is Ganduje saying that he inherited a debt of over 8 billion naira because of these corruption investigations or INEC investigations. And I think that is something that we need to keep an eye on.
Yeah, we're going to see more of that in another paper, the debt that he inherited. We're going to talk more of that. Let's look at The Guardian, another important story there on the front page. Olukoyede, organized foreign fraudsters establishing cells in Nigeria. Olukoyede is the chairman of the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission. He says these foreigners are recruiting young Nigerians in cities into cyber crimes, including cryptocurrency fraud. In addition, fraudsters are importing arms into the country using cryptocurrency as a means of payment. I mean, a very worrisome development, but probably the most shocking bit of this information is that some of those foreigners are ex-convicts in their countries of origin who escaped prosecution and found refuge in Nigeria and other African countries. Yolanda, this is a serious case for or cause for concern.
Yes, and as I was listening to you speak right now, I have a question for you, Constance. What is the source of that these are ex-convicts? I mean, can you give a bit of light on that?
What?
You know, you said that most of these foreigners that are coming and employing Nigerians are ex-convicts. Where is that information from?
This is the story.
Okay.
This is the story coming from the Guardian. And Olukoyede, the chairman of the EFCC, said that in this report that this is what they are getting. So, what do you think this is a serious problem for Nigeria? I think so.
Of course, it's a serious problem. This is the young people of our country. So definitely, and see how I said our country there. But anyway, yes, it's a very serious issue. But if these are ex-convicts, then this is something that also needs to be looked into with the immigration services. What kind of restrictions are we having around our visa regulations? I asked you that question because I'm a bit surprised, because every time I speak to foreigners, they always mention how stringent the Nigerian, you know, how difficult it is to get a visa for Nigeria. That's why I asked that question. So to say that that's in the story and these are ex-convicts, who is bringing them in? How are they getting here?
Some of them have expired visas. Actually, they are living here illegally, according to the EFCC. And also, there were some names that were mentioned. Some have been arrested. You know, people from China, from Philippines, from Tunisia, from a couple of other countries, from India as well.
Yes, I mean, it reminds us of the story of the arrest in the VI with the, you know, multiple story building and the syndicate there, and the arrest in Abuja of over 100
Chinese officials,
of citizens. We were told then that these people had committed crimes in other areas and came to Nigeria.
Sent here to work.
Yeah, you know, going off of what Yolanda is saying, there is an issue here. If somebody is convicted of these type of crimes in another country, they should not be able to get a Nigerian visa. But it's also like what Iyo was saying earlier, that our borders are porous. And
absolutely.
And so there definitely needs to be a serious effort taken to protect Nigeria.
All right. So flowing from the first story, weak governance structures in Nigeria. So that is why people are able to come in here, not only Nigeria, you know, Africa. Well, let's look at the Punch. I'd like to bring you in here, Charles. The Punch newspaper, election cases. APC accounts seized over 8.9 billion debt, says Ganduje. A party incurs legal fees, others from presidential, governorship, legislative election cases. And the national chairman of the All Progressives Congress, Abdullahi Ganduje, is seeking a bailout for the party. I mean, this speaks to how litigious our electoral system has become, and how you're not only looking for funds to run for elections, you also have to pile up money for litigation, legal cases after the election. And it's not sustainable, Charles.
Exactly. So who will Ganduje blame? I mean, he is crying wolf here that he has inherited that heavy debt burden. Of course, his party won lots of their elections in court and probably not at the ballot, or maybe they won at the ballot and then were constrained to defend the victory at the in court. So he is saying that he has a debt burden. Well, Ganduje, let APC deal with it. You don't need to cry over that, as far as I'm concerned.
Right, Iho, you have something to say.
Yes, I was just trying to make a quick comment how to deal with these issues of criminally minded foreigners that are coming into the country. I think I would just want to suggest this morning that the Nigerian Immigration Service should work with the hotel associations and landlords. In one building in Lagos, 191 of these foreigners were arrested. Somebody owned that building. If that individual reported to the Nigerian authorities, I'm sure that they would have nipped that issue in the bud. So for the NIS, they have to develop a deeper strategy to work with landlords, work with hotel owners. So once a foreigner comes, because that's what they do in other countries. Once you come in, they're able to quickly profile you and then send your details to the police, to the immigration service, and then to border control officers. It will help a lot, I think.
Let's go to Leadership newspaper. Here, intervene in Benue judiciary crisis now, CSOs tell FG. The background to this story is that Benue State House of Assembly passed a resolution recommending the removal of the Chief Judge, Justice Maurice Ikwambese, based on petition from the Governor Hyacinth Alia on allegations of abuse of office and misconduct. And since then, it has precipitated a sort of judicial crisis in the state. Charles, you know a little bit more about this. It's also your state. What can you tell us, the latest?
It was a case that was bound to generate controversy right from the word go. The State House of Assembly and to wit the governor did not follow due process. You cannot remove or even recommend the removal of a state chief judge without recourse to the National Judicial Council. 100%. Now the NJC was left completely out of this, and so the whole process, legally speaking, is an illegality. It's as simple as that. Yep. However, the underlying issue behind it all is the fact that the APC in Benue State is stratified between two camps, allegedly between the state governor and the secretary to the government of the federation, who is largely viewed as the leader of the party in Benue State. So, judgments appear to have gone in favor recently of the APC camp that is loyal to the secretary to the government of the federation. So it does appear as if it was a deliberate attempt by the governor's faction to get rid of the state chief judge, whom they feel is not loyal to their cause. And so what do? They orchestrate sham removal in the State House of Assembly. And, of course, I don't believe that thing is going to hold water in the long run.
Yes, and the NJC and the NBA have both released statements condemning this and also stressing the importance of the independence of the judiciary and the fact that this is constitutionally unfound. Our constitution is very clear. The removal of a judge is under the remit of the NJC. And honestly, sometimes you have to wonder that when we take politics too far, we destroy institutions, because it is very important that judges do not feel that they are beholden to any faction of any party or any governor.
The judiciary is actually independent, so I wonder what powers the legislature think they have to interfere in judicial matters. I mean, it is my state, all right, and I am flabbergasted.
You learn something new every day.
All right, Yolanda, you wanted to add something?
Yes, no, I'm just saying you learn something new every day. This is very shocking to me because I've never heard such, but yeah, you learn.
Well, that's politics, I guess. Let's look at Daily Sun. Just a quick look at the headline. They also have the vote of confidence passed on President Tinubu and Ganduje here. Then terrorism, exit of Sahel states from ECOWAS, huge task on Nigerian military. Of course, it will be. Kidnapping, IGP deploys police tactical team to rescue kidnapped Afenifere youth leader. We also have Emefiele loses bid to stop trial as judge declines to recuse self. Banks lose 52.26 billion to fraud in 2024. What else do we have here? I saw Daily Champion. We have Daily Champion here for the first time. Can we pull that up? Daily Champion, yes. 2027 APC NEC endorses Tinubu for second term. Again here. Fake medicines. NAFDAC DG calls for death penalty for drug crimes. We already saw that story. I think she's also alleging that there are threats to her life for seizing some of these illegal drugs. Again, Dangote slashes petrol price by 65 naira to 825 naira per liter. Okay.
Yeah, you know that the NAFDAC story that you brought up, I think is a very critical story, because apart from the allegations that her life is under threat, and which is a very frightening thing, and we have seen this happen before in our country. But beyond that, also there was, you know, the discovery of USAID medication and other items in these drug busts, and they said that these were donated medications from the USAID that were found in these illegal drug dens, or, you know, in this second-hand market or black market for medicine, some of them being expired. And I think it does bring into view a lot of these different issues that we've been talking about in Nigeria when it comes to aid and when it comes to criminality and the sophistication of criminal syndicates that we're facing in the country.
Well said, Adesua. Let's move on to the international papers now. We have, let's see, what do we have here? We have Daily Telegraph, or Daily Graphic rather. Restore monetary stability, President asks the Bank of Ghana. No, I think I'm reading from yesterday. That's yesterday's paper. Let's see. Do we have the Citizen newspaper? The Citizen newspaper, do we have that? We have it, okay. Our kids still can't read. 80% of grade 3 pupils in South Africa cannot read for meaning in any language, a situation that worries parents and teachers. Not only that, actually, by grade 6, nearly 70% of pupils are still reading below grade level in their language of instruction. That's a big challenge for the Department of Education there in South Africa. Okay, now I can say, let's go back to Daily Graphic. Government rallies MPs for Galamsey fight. Galamsey refers to the illegal mining in Ghana, and here the government is asking MPs to support a comprehensive approach being rolled out to ensure responsible mining practices. And then we can go to iNewspaper. Back Europe on Putin and meet King. Starmer's top Trump card. Starmer set to raise the prospect of a state visit hosted by King Charles as he tries to convince Trump to maintain support for war-torn Ukraine in landmark visit to White House. I mean, Yolanda, I'm not sure if the King Charles card will work here with President Trump. President Trump does what he wants to do.
That's true. I think it's already too late. You know, papers are already being signed. Orders have already been drafted. It's too late for this card. And I think at this point, Trump is seeing himself as a sort of demigod, which I think he always has been over time. And with this war with Russia and Ukraine, the breaking up of Europe over, you know, who should stand with Ukraine, I think it's a lost cause at this point.
Well, is it a lost cause? Well,
yes.
okay.
You can also flatter him.
Yes.
He does also see himself as some sort of king, so he might want to.
Yes. I wanted to use that word. I wanted to use that word, but I just left it out. Very true.
Starmer probably has a reason for making that proposition. It's possible that Donald Trump must have some form of admiration for King Charles, and that's why Starmer is flying that kite. You can actually get to meet with the king only if you just do us this favor and back the EU on Russia. Well, Trump is a businessman, but of course I think businessmen also have sentiments sometimes.
Well, the most important thing here is that President Trump is telling Europe and the British Prime Minister that he has no security guarantees, or he will not give security guarantees to Ukraine.
That's
brazen.
He actually left it to Europe.
Yes,
if there are going to be any security guarantees in Ukraine, it's the responsibility of Europe. But that also sounds like talking from both sides of his mouth, because he's also insisting that Ukraine should not be part of the North Atlantic Treaty Organization.
And also asking for their minerals and posting gold AI statues of himself in Trump Gaza.
Not to mention the 5 million visa for citizenship.
You girls are out for Donald Trump today, aren't you?
He's paying for that war partially, so that's why he's asking for minerals. Let's look at The Guardian. President faces backlash over AI vision for Gaza. On that front page, we can see an AI-generated image or AI-generated images of an idyllic reconstructed Gaza that President Trump posted on his social media account on Truth Social. A giant statue of himself in Gaza, and another one of Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu and himself hanging out by the poolside of a hotel sipping drinks. And of course, his pal, Elon Musk, in the middle there in a photo. Iyo, do you think this has gone too far? People are absolutely furious with these images.
Well, people can be as furious as they want, but Trump is the president of the United States. He has been elected. And the unfortunate aspect of all of this is that Trump appears to have the support of the Republican Party. That is his party. Just a few Republicans are speaking out at a time that Americans are beginning to get very worried. Yesterday and day before yesterday, I was following, the discussions and conversations by Republicans who went to their constituents, to brief them, and you could see the complaint. Americans are beginning to get fed up with Trump, but Trump is not going to stop so soon. As Adesua said earlier, he also sees himself as a king, in fact, king of the world, and that his word is law, like the king of France, who said, I am France and France is me. So that is the way
he is the state and the state is himself.
The state is exactly. So he thinks that, basically there's nothing anybody can do about what he has. From what he has posted, it is a peep into the mind of Trump. That is what Trump wants for Gaza. So, but whether he will be able to get through with this, that is left to be seen. But nobody will be able to convince Trump to move away from this path. And
that's what I was going to ask. It doesn't seem like this Gaza plan of his will go anywhere.
Apparently, it is something that is paramount for him. It's uppermost on his mind. And Trump, whenever he starts something, he definitely will want to see it through, whether to save face or whether to make America great again. But I mean, we actually thought it was a joke, sort of. But right now, apparently, it's serious.
It's not a joke. Anyway, we'll have to leave it there. Igor Akerega, a member of the Nigerian Guild of Editors, thank you so much for being with us today.
And Constance Ikoku, Arises analyst, thank you so much for being with us on Daybreak today. And for our beautiful viewers, that's all the time we have for you here on Daybreak. I'm Adesu Agiwal-Sage.
I'm Charles Eruka. It's goodbye from me.
And I'm Yolanda Robert. Please do keep it here on Arise News. The morning show is next. Goodbye.